Welcome to Grandad's Reviews. I thought in this video we'll have a look at one of my film cameras that I've had for a little while now and I've used a few times, but actually beginning to really like. It's probably becoming one of my favourite cameras. And that's this beast, the Canon EOS 1N. This one's got a battery grip on the bottom. Just makes it a little bit more stable in the hand. That finger's got somewhere to go when it's gripping. So this is a 35mm film camera. So the EOS 1N was released in 1994, so you're looking at a 30-year-old camera. It's a weighty beast. A little bit extra with the battery grip on, but not a huge amount. The battery grip, you can put 4 AA's in it and the obligatory TCR 2CR3 battery that's in there at the moment. It's built like a tank and it works fantastically. We've only got 5 autofocus spots that you can see through the viewfinder, which you can have on automatic, so all 5 are there and the camera decides, or you can pick whichever you like. The autofocus is fairly fast for this age of camera. I've got the EOS 3, which has got a similar autofocus system to the EOS 1V, which was the top of the range last film camera that Canon did. And the difference in speed, the autofocus between them isn't great, but the accuracy is a bit better on the newer ones. On this, it's good enough. It's good enough for what it needs to be. It's got a fantastic shutter sound. If we put it into a nice going nuts, and you can leave it in the high speed because you can just do one if you want quite easily. So let's have a look at some of the buttons and controls on the camera. So on the front of the camera we've got shutter release button, and down here we've got the button for depth of field preview. So when you've got the aperture set, you can press that and it'll close the lens down so you can see what depth field you got. There's a little light there, the self timer light. On this side we've got the back release, which you have to press the button and slide it down, and we've got the PC sync for a flash there. This side we've got the remote release socket for a remote release cable. We've got a flap which opens here. At the bottom we've got a button to clear any custom functions you can put on, because you can do some custom functions. Next one up is the drive, so single shot or high speed film advance. Battery check, so if we look on the screen, press that and we've got a battery check. And at the top we've got a recess button for doing the custom functions. On the back we've got a big control dial. If you're in manual mode, that'll control your aperture. If you're in any of the program modes like program, aperture priority or shutter priority, then that'll control your exposure compensation. But you must have the metering being metered at the time, and on the screen it'll change. If you want, you can turn the rear dial off with that button. At the moment it's on. switch it off, and then this is disabled. So if you don't want to accidentally knock it and change your exposure compensation, you can switch it off if you want to. Bottom we've got film rewind, if you want to rewind the film at any point. And then we've got the on-off switch, and the top one is for the bleep for the AF. On the top, we've got obviously the hot shoe. On the viewfinder, there's a little lever just here, and that closes the viewfinder if you do on bull for long exposures. If you take this cup off, just under here, there's a diopter control. Just here, we've got 2 more buttons. That's the exposure lock button. So if you're in aperture priority or shutter priority or program, you can lock the exposure. Press it, take your shot. Once the metering's finished, it will reset. This button selects lets you select the AF points. So you press that, and then on the screen you've got your AF points, and you can toggle through them, whichever one you want. On the top, we've obviously got front control dial, that's doing your shutter release. Then we've got this button here. So if you've got the back dial switched off, but you want to do exposure compensation, you can press that button and then use the front dial to change the exposure compensation. This button here switches the light of the display on so you can see it at night. It's a blue light. Then on this side we've got a number of other buttons. We've got the mode button, which if I press it, it will scroll through the aperture priority, depth, shutter priority, manual, shutter priority, bulb, program mode, aperture priority, depth, manual. So that does that one. This one here is the metering and the flash exposure compensation. So if you hold it down, you can probably see the metering is on multi, and it goes to center weighted, spot, back to multi, and then the back dial will do the flash compensation. And then these buttons, you can combine them. As you can see, there's arrows pointing here. So if you press the metering mode button and the AF button, then you can change the ISO, either to change what the DX code has been read or to put the ISO in if you haven't got a DX coded film. AF button changes from one shot to servo, and then the mode button up here and the metering button, press that, and then we can change multi-exposure from 1 to, I believe it's 5 on there. Then to open the back, press the button and push down. It's just a standard type of film back. Put your film in there, put the leader just past the orange dot, close the back, and it will load the film itself. We've got contacts for the control wheel, and you can have a data back on as well. When you close up, it will load the film, and away it goes. So that's the buttons and controls on the EOS 1N, and I find it a great camera. I've done a few shoots with it, and it's a capable camera. The metering on my particular model is very good. I haven't had any problems whatsoever. So yeah, I find that fine. Now there is one problem with these cameras, and I brought this camera with that problem, and it's called the BC error. Now BC comes up when you press the battery check, and it shows you all the dots of how many battery power you've got, but it can also come up, you go to fire it, nothing happens, it just says BC. Nothing happens. You can switch it off, you can take the batteries out, you can do whatever you want, nothing will change. Now if you Google it, you'll find that 9 times out of 10, it's the magnet that controls the shutter release that's in the body here, and it sticks. With age, I assume different vapours and everything get onto the magnets, and when they've been sitting together for a while, especially if the camera's been stored for a while, they stick and won't release when you press the shutter, and that's what you get. And the usual way of fixing it, or one of the ways of fixing it, is partly strip the body, put a really strong magnet near these magnets and get it to move. But there is another way, but it's a bit drastic. Get a piece of rubber or cardboard, slide it in here, then get something that's got a bit of weight behind it that will go in there and give it a wallop. And usually it works. You might have to give it a couple of wallops. I actually forgot to put the cardboard there once, and I've got a little scratch where I got a bit mad with it because it stopped. So I picked this up because it had the BC error. I think I paid £50 for it, just to take the chance and see if I could fix it. One tap and it was fixed. I've had it lock up once more, but I'd gone on holiday and had left it, and it'd not been used for a couple of weeks. And yeah, so once you get it going, if you do get the BC, or even if you haven't got the BC error and you've got one that's working, every time you walk by it, fire it. I get up, come in the office and fire it. Put it on manual, just fire it a couple of times whenever you walk by, or at least once a day, and you've got it fixed. It'll keep going. Would I recommend this as a first film camera? Yes and no. Yes, if you just want something that's very similar to a modern digital camera, meaning by it's got AF, it's got different program modes, aperture priority, shutter priority program. It winds on the film, it loads the film itself. Yes, I would say, yeah, it's ideal for that, and it's a great professional camera. If you want something that's a bit more hands-on, so you want more control, want all the dials, then it's not really that kind of camera. If you're after something that's a bit more like this, where everything's mechanical, then you're looking at your Olympuses, Minoltas, those sort of things. You've got to wind it on yourself, you've got to focus yourself, load the film yourself, set all the settings yourself, then they're probably a better first camera for you. This is ideal if you've had a Canon 5D or 5D Mark, whatever, and you've got EF lenses. Just take all the EF lenses, and the good thing about that is if you want to move on to mirrorless and you go Canon, you can put the EF lenses onto your mirrorless camera with an adapter. So if you want to get into film, you want something well built, reliable. I don't think you can go wrong with one of the EOS ones. I've got the 5, the 3, and they're all 5's a bit more plasticky, a bit cheaper. The ones, yeah, heavy and well built. But I suppose it's similar to having a Nikon. Canon and Nikon with the big brands at the time in film photography, and you were either a Canon person or a Nikon person. And you can't go wrong, really. I think the Canons are probably a little bit, not cheaper, but more affordable to buy, and lenses certainly are. But yeah, ES1N, great camera. Next time, we'll have a look at the EOS 3. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, that helps the channel. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. Till next time, see you later.